This is Captain Ross with 3B's Captain School. In this video, we're going to cover navigation rules of the road, rules 1 through 3.
This is Captain Ross with 3B's Captain School, navigation rules and regulations. We're going to go over the first 3 rules in this presentation. So, rules of the road. International regulations for preventing collisions at sea became effective July 1977. The United States ratified this treaty, and all U.S. flagged ships must follow it. The 72 coal regs developed by Intergovernment Maritime Consultative Organization, or the IMO. So what do we want to do in these first 3 rules? State the purpose of the navigation rules of the road, where the rules are located in the book, where the inland rules are located in the book, where the international and inland rules apply. List who is responsible to follow the rules. State when a vessel may depart from the rules. State 3 conditions that define the term underway. And state what is meant by vessels in sight of one another. What are the purpose of the rules? Purpose of the rules is basically to prevent collisions at sea. So it establishes by law actions that are to be taken to avoid collisions at sea between vessels. We use the Coast Guard Navigation Rules and Regulations Handbook. This is the official reference for the rules. It's published by the U.S. Coast Guard, and it covers both international and inland. The handbook is laid out pretty easily. Once you get a few pages in and start on the rules with Rule 1, you can see that international rules are on the left page of the book, and inland rules are on the right page. So Rule 4 there, you can see in this example, application. International rules in this section apply to any condition of visibility. That's the international rule. Inland rules, the exact same. Rules in this section apply to any condition of visibility. If there was a difference between international and inland rules, you would see that difference between the 2 pages when you compared them. Application. Where do the rules apply and who to? So they apply to all vessels on the high seas and in waters connected therewith navigable by seagoing vessels. There also shall not interfere with special rules made by appropriate authority. In the United States, that's our inland rules. So navigation rules cover the high seas and all connected waters that are navigable by seagoing vessels. And then we made special rules in the United States, and those rules started our demarcation lines, which we'll cover in a further video. All right, Rule 2. This is the responsibility rule. So this rule states, nothing in these rules shall exonerate any vessel, the owner, master, or crew thereof, from the consequences of any neglect of any practice which may be required. It's broken down into 2 basic parts. Good seamanship, which basically means don't follow the rules if it will cause a collision, and general prudential rule, which is do not have a collision if you encounter a situation that's not specifically covered in the rules. So the final rule to fall back on all the time is, even if you're following every rule to the best of your ability, if that's going to cause you to have a collision, you need to do something different. Definitions. It's important when we go over these definitions that you take time and try to learn these as best you can. These help explain the way a lot of the rules work. So underway. Whenever you see the term underway, they're talking about a vessel that is not at anchor, made fast to the shore, or aground. So if you're out there in your vessel floating, your engine's off, and you're just drifting, you're underway. Because you're not at anchor, you're not made fast to the shore, and you're not aground. Restricted visibility. Any condition in which visibility is restricted by fog, mist, falling snow, etc. In sight. When you see the terms in sight used, it means vessels are inside of one another, which means they can basically see each other visually, not with radar or any other kind of tools, but you can look out the window of your vessel and see the other vessel. You're in sight. If you can't see them because of fog, mist, falling snow, then you're not in sight. Power-driven vessels are any vessel propelled by machinery. Sailing vessel, any vessel under sail, provided that propelling machinery is not being used. So if you're on a sailing vessel and you have sails up and the motor running, you're a power-driven vessel. When you see the term sailing vessel in the rules or in the questions, that means a vessel that's not using any machinery. It's under sail. Not under command. This is a vessel which through some exceptional circumstance is unable to maneuver as required by these rules. So what's a special or exceptional circumstance? The rudder's broken, the controls for controlling the rudder from the pilot house don't work, the engines are not working, the prop's bent. For some reason, this vessel cannot operate as required by the rules. A vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver. This is a vessel which, from the nature of her work, is restricted in her ability to maneuver as required by these rules. So a dredge that's actively dredging would be restricted in her ability to maneuver. A Coast Guard buoy tender working on a buoy in the channel, while they're working that buoy, they can't maneuver as required by the rules. They're restricting their ability to maneuver. So their work restricts their ability to maneuver. Constrained by draft is a vessel which, because of her draft, the depth of her boat in relation to available depth of water and width of water, is severely restricted in her ability to deviate from course. This is only found in international. There is no constrained by draft definition or vessel in inland waters. Nighttime, sunset to sunrise. It's not restricted visibility. Remember, that was mist and fog and snow storms or whatever. Nighttime is just nighttime, and it's officially begins at sunset and ends at sunrise. A vessel engaged in fishing, a fishing vessel. Any vessel fishing with nets, lines, trawls, or other fishing apparatus which restricts maneuverability. This does not include trolling lines because you can still maneuver as required by the rules. And then finally, inland waters. These are navigable waters of the United States shoreward or inside of the demarcation line, which is a line that is on your chart and is defined in that Coast Guard Rules and Regulations Handbook, that divides the high seas from harbors, rivers, and other inland waters and waters of the Great Lakes on the U.S. side of the international boundary.
Check our video on lines of demarcation for a further explanation of the difference between inland and international waters. This concludes our video on navigation rules of the road, rules 1 through 3. Please check our YouTube library for all our other videos.